Hey, hi, my name is Magda. Um, I am I am just testing and checking in. I don't have anything specific to say or tell. I'm just trying to build up a habit of 10 minutes every night talking to a camera to be able to take out everything that I have inside, which I think it could be helpful for someone. And if anything, it's helpful for me. So, um, the idea here is just to talk for as many minutes as I can and bring you some context, some thoughts, some feelings, and ideas that are in my mind through this very special moment that I'm going through. So a little bit of the background, a little bit of context, or maybe a little bit of insights or data about me is that I am 47 years old, very soon to be 48. I have a son. I was a mom at 44 years old, so my son has 3 years and 9 months. I live in the US. I'm an immigrant here. Obviously, you can tell because of my accent. I'm from the very, very southern part of the world, specifically from Argentina. And I moved to the States in 2007, I think. So I have been here for some time. And I think since my son was born, I've been going through a huge transformation, and I might even dare to say that this transformation started before my son was born. My son was born in 2022, so maybe this started happening by the end of 2020 or through 2021, as a consequence of 2020 drove me to get some decisions, and then 2022 my son was born. So I would say that since 2020 perhaps, this transformation has been going on. The curve probably was a little bit, kind of like smoother, and then son is born, and then everything kind of like changes right after that. And with this transformation, my whole identity has been shattered on the ground. I have no idea at 48 years old who I am. No idea. I don't know. I don't even know how to feel about that. That's a, to that extent is this situation. And before my son was born, I think most of my identity was tied to this concept of accomplishment. So I would accomplish something. Most of those milestones would be material, or like not material, but they would manifest in the 3D world. So I would get an amazing job, or I would graduate from school, or with a high note, or I would get this amount of money in my bank account, or I would get this promotion, or I would get this title. And certainly, more than anything, was always very career oriented. And then my son is born, and everything just shatters because literally, maybe like 18 months after he's born, I lose my job. And since then, I've been kind of like trying to recoup and trying to reinsert myself into these paradigms or these, bigger societal structures. Sorry, sometimes my words are too fancy, I guess, to translate to English. And it hasn't happened. I don't know why, but they hadn't happened. And they're having so many other things, kind of like fitting the industry, the job market. That's my son right now. He is yelling. Anyways, I lost my train of thought. But what I'm trying to say is that since my son was born, and slowly but surely, every one of those beacons that would, or like scaffoldings that would kind of cement or sustain my identity have been shattered, done, shut down, died. Even, I lost my mother in the midst of all of this. So I don't know who am I anymore. I don't know what am I good at. What should I be doing? Why should I be pursuing? I know I have to work because I need to pay things, and I have a life. I'm not rich, so I need to work. And I know I love certain things. And I guess that I'm really like starting fresh from scratch. So anyways, this has been my little rant. I don't expect anything from this. As I mentioned in the beginning, the idea here is to build a habit, because that's another thing I realized, is that I have always been kind of like jumping and popping from one thing to the other one without me really taking the time to build the process. Processes were always somehow interrupted by something that had much of a priority. And I think probably the top priority, that being my son. So the idea here is just to build a habit, and just to upload things onto YouTube just to see how it works. Maybe eventually something useful for more people can come out of this. YouTube specifically, because all of the other platforms I have, people that know me, and I'm very private. So I have no interest on, acquaintances or, frenemies or you name it, to learn about these internal processes that I'm going through. So that's why YouTube. I think YouTube is the only platform that I really enjoy. So we'll see. We shall see. I just remember there was, as I was talking, a message came in, and I just remembered today I had an interview that just threw me under the bus for some reason. I think I spoiled it. Also, as I was going through the interview, my son, I gave him the iPad so he could. let me backtrack. There was a snowstorm here, so my son Inaki didn't have classes, and because I had that interview, I gave him the iPad so he could be just hypnotized watching iPad. And in the middle of the interview, as I was making across a point, he came here and started demanding that I would look at something at the iPad that he wanted to buy. And I didn't know how to mute the call, so I'm like, I'm sorry, like, and then I'm trying to just calm him down, and he started having like a mini tantrum in front of the interviewer. Yeah, anyways, that's my life. So that's what happened today. I was so hopeful about that interview because that's something that I want to do. Creative strategy, more specifically. And I think it just didn't work. But anyways, my first video onto YouTube. We'll see what comes out of it.